Well, welcome to the Up North Live Digital Studio in today's segment of Making Sense, where we're addressing a wide range of topics when it comes to your money, your decisions, and your financial future. Joining us in the studio tonight, Justin Wolf and Alex Lutke from Forest Area Federal Credit Union. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. I'd like to take a moment and just give you an opportunity to address to all those people that are tuning in tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Alex, let's start with you.
Yeah, Mark, we appreciate being on. We're excited to be able to share some of the things that we've got going on here and things that will touch the viewers' lives. So I'm Alex Lutke. I'm the CEO here at Forest Area Federal Credit Union. Born and raised here in Northern Michigan. Excited to be back here. Have a family, a wife, and 3 kids, and excited just to be here. And
we're thrilled to have you. Justin.
Hi, everyone. Justin Wolf. I'm the Executive Vice President for the credit union. I, too, am a lifelong resident of Grand Traverse County. This marks my 20th year in the financial services industry, the last 6 with the credit union here. My claim to fame is that I still live on the family farm. My wife and I and my dad, we still operate it's a hobby farm because that's not the full-time jobs really, right? But we've spent a lot of time our entire lives here and love Northern Michigan, made this our home, and am so happy that, we can have careers here because I like to say people are my passion. And, this business, this industry has really given me an opportunity to engage with people for a long time. So we're excited to do things like this, Mark, and share a little bit of what we know, and also maybe answer some questions from the viewers out there.
Absolutely. If our viewers have questions, whatever platform they're watching us on right now, they can fire us off those questions, and we'll get them answered. We're going to start with a question, though, because today we are talking about our finances, and we're talking about ways to not only make the most of our money, but also protect our money and protect our identities and our personal information and all that stuff that we know we should do, but sometimes we have some pretty complex questions and sometimes some pretty simple questions of exactly how to do it. This is a time of year, and this topic tonight is particularly important because this is a time of year where there tend to be a lot of scam artists and a lot of scams floating around. Why is that?
Yeah, the scammers they know what they're doing, right? They're very intelligent individuals, and what they know is that people are getting tax refunds. They know this is the time of year when individuals get deposits, and so they use it as an opportunity to exploit individuals and find ways to be able to try and get people's funds, find just in ways that's not helpful. And they know the right things to do, the right strings to pull to be able to get those funds and to be able to get people to believe that things are real.
Yeah, and I imagine we are at this time of year in particular, we're used to dealing with mail. We're thinking about our taxes and our information. So you get a phone call, you get an email claiming it's from the IRS or somebody. It makes sense. I imagine that adds some validity to that scam, and suddenly we're believing it. Is there a way for us to know what kinds of scams are going on and what's circulating around right now?
There certainly is. And just starting by being aware of what's going on around us is a great start. Again, with the tax time here, we're exchanging that information. We know that information for our taxes are coming in the mail. And so being aware that we're in a time period where we could be at higher risk, that's important. Now, scams can happen any time of day, any time of year. So we always have to be aware, but also be aware of when we might fall prey a little bit easier than other times. But when it comes down to knowing what's going on, what's going around, there's a lot of resources. And I would suggest start with trusted advisors. If you're working with somebody at your financial institution, if you have a certified public accountant, an attorney, anybody in your life that you trust, talk with them, find out what's going on with them, and have that conversation to just see what they're experiencing that's going on in the marketplace, in the world around us. And it could be the local barber too, right? Because he may have heard from, your neighbor down the road what happened to him, and it could be something new, something that we haven't heard of yet. So talk to those trusted advisors, know who they are, and ask for their feedback if you trust them, of course. And then there are just some regular resources. There's governmental websites, everything from the Social Security Administration to the FBI, and more, that we'd be glad to make available and help people get those resources. Reach out to us if you want those specific websites. But you can certainly see trends there. And, I've even seen in our local law enforcement social media posts, a lot of times they'll make it aware, just as credit unions and banks and other institutions. Well, if our group is being targeted and we know it, we're going to get the message out and let them know. So again, stick with those places, the businesses, your trusted advisors, connect with them, know that you're connected to them through their official affiliations, phone numbers, websites, social media. They're going to share that information, and then ask those around you that are trusted advisors.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those things where don't be afraid to talk about it. Run it by. It's like picking a paint color for your family room. Let somebody else take a look at it and make sure that everybody sees it the same way, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do we know if somebody that's reaching out to us, maybe it's a credit union, maybe it's our insurance company, how do we know if a company is legitimate or not? Is there a way to kind of vet some of this ourselves?
Yeah, there absolutely is. The biggest thing is just to start doing some background checking on the company that they are claiming to be. They may say that they're with XYZ company. Go Google those individuals. Go find their website to see if are they a company from here. Google the address that comes up when you start searching deeper to see if it's an actual physical location that they claim to be. That you can reach out to your financial institution as well, because we're pretty well vetted. We see this stuff on a daily, a weekly basis. And so we have a pretty good idea of scams that are hot, that are happening. And so we have the ability to search as well and see if we can kind of get some more information on what's happening and see if it lines up with other people's stories. And yeah, this is a scam because we just heard someone else have the exact same scenario. So you can also go to the Better Business Bureau. That's another place to check beyond just Googling different places. They have a lot of information there. There's a lot of resources available before believing that someone's a real business.
Well, they oftentimes they try to pose as real business. Mm-hmm. Some of them are really good at it, mm-hmm. Right? I mean, some of these we read about these scams. We've done stories on them. I'm sure you've seen them as well, where for a minute you can be like, I can see why people fell victim to these people. They're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, unfortunately, we see that all the time. They took me to a website, and if you look at the website, the name is right, but they use like a VV versus a W in the website, so you don't actually catch that it's not the right words. And it's really easy to make a website if you know what you're doing. So you direct people to a website. It's a scam, a phony website, and then you believe it, and then you're knees deep into a situation you don't want to be in.
Yeah. All right. So it feels like when we do a report on these scams, we're always saying the same thing. The IRS will never contact you via phone to pay off a tax bill, things like that. So what do you do if you get a phone call from someone saying that, for example, they're your financial institution, but it doesn't quite seem right? What's the advice that you have for the folks tuning in tonight?
Mark, I tell you, if it doesn't seem right, trust your gut. You have to do that first. Protect yourself and your information first. If something doesn't feel right, or even if it does feel mostly right, but you're just not sure, it seems like an out of the ordinary ask, take the next step to verify. First and foremost, hang up the phone and call your institution back. Call that business back from a number that you know to be their number. Mm-hmm. Do not trust caller ID. With the technology that's out there today, people can spoof numbers. They can place a phone call to you and have it show up on your caller ID as though it's really coming from a trusted source. So take that opportunity to trust your gut. And if it's our financial institution reaching out to one of our members and they're not comfortable or they think that call is out of place, they hang up on us, call us back and ask. We will not take offense to that. Protect yourself first, trust your gut, and we'll work through the rest with you, because as long as you take that step and verify before you trust them with your information, you might find out that it was somebody with ill intent.
Alex, you agree?
Yeah, and just the only thing I would add to that is they've gotten really good at being able to spoof phone numbers as well. So even if you get a phone number from what you think is our phone number and you still feel like it's a little weird, hang up and call us directly, because it may still not be your financial institution, whether it's us or someone else. Definitely give a call back.
And I want to drill down on this because we know that we should double check or do that. But don't accept the phone number that the person that's calling you, that they give you to call and check, or the website that they give you. You have to go to an independent source to get that phone number or to get that web page, because the people that are calling you probably know how to get past that they're going to want to call a number. So they're going to give you the number. So you can't, if you have doubts on that phone call, you have to kind of go outside that phone call. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, do not trust the information that they're giving you. You can Google us. You can Google other financial institution, find their phone number, reach out, and make sure that it actually is legitimately them.
Okay, but Justin, I'm gonna hold the Forest Area Federal Credit Union accountable that you will not be offended if we hang up and then call back, right? Like we're gonna pass on that one.
No,
right?
Mark, we're people persons, right? We want to talk to you as much as we can.
Right,
call as many times as you like.
Okay, good to know. So I want to run some scams by, if you can explain these to us, because we're familiar with some, we're not familiar with other. What's an imposter scam?
Yeah, so the imposter scam. So that's one that's very prevalent right now. And so what it is, it's an organization that is trying to imposter to be someone that they're not. And the reason why it's so prevalent right now is what we talked about in the beginning, is the scammers pretending to be the IRS and saying you owe X amount of dollars and you need to pay it. And so they will make threatening remarks to you as if you're going to go to jail if you don't pay this money. And they get their information off the dark web. They reach out, and there's a lot of things that they do. They have a lot of information, so they make it sound as though they know who you are. And it sounds very real. And the biggest one right now, like I said, is the IRS.
And those imposters typically are going to act or communicate with you with a large sense of urgency. It's very urgent. They're probably going to have some threatening, maybe not physical threats, but the threat of going to jail, the threat of further fines, the threat of this or that happening to you. So they're really trying to get you to act fast in a lot of those imposter situations.
And if you've ever dealt with some of these things, they don't move fast at all. Like the real ones tend to move. If you've dealt with the IRS, it's weeks and weeks back and forth and back and forth. So should that kind of be a red flag to make you think, I'm not sure this is legit? That sense of urgency and that threat that just feels out of character from a government organization, or we hear about it with the sheriff's office and stuff like that. Those are two red flags that say maybe you should pause things a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that they'll do is they'll ask you to send payments in a kind of weird ways, whether it's Venmo or PayPal or even gift cards. Go to your local grocery store and get us $500 in Amazon gift cards, and then send us the codes. Like just weird things like that, where you're not having to go into your financial institution, who probably knows that it's a scam and will stop you from doing the scam, where you're acting on your own behalf and where you're not going to get found out as easily.
We hear it often, whether it's bank tellers or even clerks at gas stations, where they pause somebody from doing a transaction like buying 1 million gift cards, or they go to the bank and they say what they need the money for, and they're like, wait, we need to think about this. So kudos to all the people that are on the front lines that have push pause for these people, because it saves them. It's not easy to get money back once you've been scammed. Is that accurate?
100%. They know how to get the money in a way that it's not going to get sent back to them. I mean, gift cards, once they're purchased and the things are sent, it's gone. You're not getting that money back.
That's heartbreaking, because some of these scams are, it's a lot. It's life savings, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to that point, another type of imposter scam is the romance scam, where someone claims to be someone that they're not, but they coerce you into sending money. We see it often here. And so people sending life savings out because they believe that they are in love. And the individual, a lot of times, they're in the military. And so they're not often available, and they're not able to travel because they're in the military. And six-figure numbers being sent out of the institution because they believe that they're in love.
That is, it is sad, because not only are they preying on emotion, but then they're also out an awful lot of money that they're not going to. Law enforcement is not going to have much success in tracking this down. What can you do if you've already been scammed? What if you've already fallen victim and you realize it? What do you do?
Mark, the first thing is get in touch with your financial institution. Let them know, ask for assistance. We're here to help. We're in the business of helping people. So are, all the banks, credit unions, insurance companies, all of that. Ask for help, and make sure that you're able to put as many of your accounts on alert as possible, so that you can hopefully prevent any future or additional scams from happening. Okay, that's getting things a little bit locked down, making the people you do business with aware. That's going to be your first step. And they're really going to be able to give you some good advice and walk you through additional processes, because there may be paperwork to fill out in an attempt to recover or attempt to bring resolution to some of these situations. And then there are broader scope actions you can take. You can contact law enforcement, FBI, Better Business Bureau. You can file complaints with certain organizations, and finding out what really happened and where to go next is, again, getting with your trusted advisor at your financial institution and talking about those next steps.
Alex, let me ask you this. We hear about it all the time. You don't want to admit that you fell for something. Mm-hmm. So you suffer in silence. That's not necessary. It's probably not helpful, and it's not necessary, because there's no shame in falling victim, and it doesn't really help address the problem or put you on a path to be safer in the future, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, that happens often, but we see it every day. It's very normal for us. So being able to come in and talk about it and share your story of what's happening, it's also going to help other people, because then it makes us aware of the situation. We have a network within the community of financial institutions that we can communicate with to share that story with everyone else of, hey, be on the lookout. These are the new scams that are happening. So by you sharing your story, it's only going to be helpful to the entire community. And that's what we're about, is making people stronger and better in the community.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to admit that you made that, or that happened to you. But it is absolutely appreciated. All right, well, that's sad. So let's end on a little bit more positive note. What kinds of steps should we all be taking to protect our personal information, especially this time of year when everybody's out for our tax money? What kinds of positive steps should we be taking?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mark. I think the biggest thing is just don't the most obvious one, don't give out your personal information. I know one of the scams that we see, not often, but frequently enough, is people are giving out their username and password to their online banking, which you feel like would be obvious not to do, but it happens. They get promised that, hey, we're going to deposit money into your account. We just need to know your username and password, and then we'll make that deposit for you. So don't give out personal information, banking information, any of that. That's rule number one. When you have important documents at home, don't just throw them away. Burn them, shred them, do what you need to do to get rid of that. You think about throwing out your bank statements. If you throw that out, someone now has your name, your address, where you bank, and they can definitely call that financial institution and try and get information from them. So don't do that. And also use strong passwords. That's going to help make sure that the hackers have more of a chance to not get into your information. Because if they do, it's a real struggle to get your information back.
Justin, anything you'd like to add?
I'll just wrap up with stay aware. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. If it doesn't feel right, think about it, talk to a trusted advisor, give us a call here at the credit union if we can help, because we don't want to see any more people fall victim to these scams. And talking about it, looking for resources from the trusted sources is going to be your best bet. Keep your information safe in the meantime, and we'll work with everybody out in our communities to help combat these scams and these losses as we go forward.
And when in doubt, talk to your financial institution, because they have resources available that can help you now and moving forward in the future.
Yeah.
Alex, Justin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to everybody that tuned in and watched. We really appreciate it. We'll be back for another Making Sense in a little bit. Don't forget, you can always submit questions. And gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Appreciate it.
Take care.